What is going on, Dumb Nation? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Getting the group channel notified over on Facebook, and then we will be talking about what we're going to go over tonight. Good to see everybody on Wimkin, on Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever else we may have missed. It's myself, myself, and I tonight. Olivia might make a quick appearance, but night off for her and night off for Leroy. So we will have a good show together. I am going to have to handle all the donations and all that stuff, so bear with me as we go through this adventure together, talking about some nominations for Trump's cabinet, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris doing what they always do, but this time saying goodbye. State Department, sounds like the peace agreement ceasefire is falling through. Of course. Donald Trump will have to come in and save the day. Got some Piers Morgan video, got some meltdown on CNN as O'Leary goes ahead and challenges CNN and drops the hammer. Rubio does the same thing. It's going to be a busy night. Got a lot to cover. Stick with us. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. See you shortly. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show, everybody. Step into a webkit. One of the things that I hear most often, that I always try to help people connect the dots, is what is past is prologue. And although Shakespeare not my favorite, it's an interesting thing when you look at 1980 and the crack epidemic and what the United States government was involved in with the Contras.
No kidding.
So I don't understand why people are so shocked and they call Roseanne a conspiracy theorist. Because there's evidence in the past of the government getting involved in this, and there's plenty of books on this, and you can read this.
Hey, here's what I think. I love your show, by the way, Matt Spear, and
Thank you,
you. Just discovered you about a week ago,
ma'am.
Oh my God, this guy's a genius. The facts he can spew.
God, I love you.
You can spew fact, and that's the sign of a genius.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I appreciate you asking me that.
So you just made my life.
I do remember back when they were bringing the crack cocaine into the black neighborhoods, and that proved that the CIA was doing it because they were grooming that population, and they've been
adjusting transmitter output. This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What's going on, everybody? My mouse died in the middle, so while we're chatting, these things, I think I charged it a year ago, the Apple mouse. It's fantastic. It's supposed to give me a notification. Yeah, goal. Splash is up. Goal is up. Everything's up. Yeah. Thanks. Olivia's checking in. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. I just realized my my monitor is in the flag. There it is. It's that one. It's not that important. I just figured it out. Richard, I got your nice comment. I'm glad you're looking forward to the show. It's nice to see. We've had quite a few people, especially YouTube last night, 1,400 views on our live stream. What? Did we break the throttle? Is that what happened? We've got 11 right now. What the hell's going on over at YouTube? Good to have all our YouTube people here. Usually there's a couple of beautiful ladies who accompany me. One is my wife and the other one isn't. And then Leroy, but not tonight. Running solo, which is fine. Apple is better. Android is better. I didn't know Android made mice. Hello? 1 second. Now I can hear you. Okay. Yeah, that's not the way this works. Yeah, this is a mouse, not a phone. New listener, the AFE guy. It's amazing, YouTube. Well, listen, YouTube, listen, here's what it comes down to. Since we have so many new YouTube people perusing the show, I will tell you, we interact with the audience quite a bit. You may not disagree. You may disagree with some of the things that I say because I tend to stay, even though I'm a conservative, I do call out both sides on occasion. So sometimes you're like, oh, well, I can't believe you think that. The whole point of this show is not to just remove people that we disagree with. It's to have a conversation and try to make a few points. And if you don't agree with something, certainly say it in chat or call in or whatever. We just ask that people try to be respectful. This is the internet. So unlike most shows, we actually involve our audience where most people don't. And the reason why is most hosts get scared. They don't know who's going to call. Well, I've been doing this for 4 years. We've been throttled. We've been removed from YouTube 3 times, and they've destroyed our channel. And Facebook has done the same thing. Even though we've grown on Facebook and we're 210,000 followers, it doesn't nearly get the love that it deserves. So we constantly are fighting the algorithms, and we're hoping that when Trump comes in, it gets a little bit easier. So we'll see. But welcome to the show if you're new here. We talk about politics. It's what we do. But we try to bring a little bit of an edge to it and bring up other stuff. I would be remiss if I didn't do a plug, and we don't do a lot of this, but there's 2 things. You'll see a goal down below. That goal is what we do per show, and we've hit it for, I think, 9, almost 10 months in a row. And when Facebook demonetized us and canceled our ad revenue, it was almost $15,000 a month. They just said, you can't make any more money. We said, why? What did we do? Did we talk about Jews? Did we talk about the vaccine? Did we talk about J6 or a stolen election? And all of those things we've talked about, but we never really took a side. We just presented facts. Why were we canceled? No reason. In fact, we still don't know why. In fact, I can create an account right now and get stars with 1 follower, but I've got 210,000 followers, and you can't donate to the show. So the way we do it is by going to thedumbshow.com/donate. It's your first time watching. You don't need to donate, but if you want to, that's great. We love it. We're not going to tell you not to. But what you find is that every night we hit the goal, and the reason why is because our followers like what we do. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Last but not least, and I know you're like, gosh, is this a giant commercial? No, this is what we have to do to survive. a brand new product on thedumbshow.com. We sell some great hats and shirts and coffee and all that type of stuff. But there is a limited edition from Arcadia Publishing, which does the Library of Congress and the Smithsonian's books. The Constitution of the United States of America, 144 pages. It has the signers' short biographies. It also has the amendments and declaration, all printed in a beautiful 9x6 full leather book available at thedumbshow.com. Pretty simple. Go take a look, and we would appreciate it. All right, let's get to it. That wasn't too bad, right? I know a lot of people are like, we got to tell you about Provasic. It's going to make your pee-pee hard. And I've been taking it for 17 years. As a 50-year-old male, I can just like hump a knothole in a post. And I've been doing it ever since I took Provasic. You just take it 2 times a day with a glass of water, and it only causes diarrhea and herpes and cardiovascular disease and brain damage, and you might have an elbow grow out of your asshole. But Provasic, brought to you by the same people who brought you the Pfizer vaccine. At least I didn't do that. Moving on, what are we talking about tonight? There's quite a few things. And I think the first thing that we should all focus and pay attention to is these confirmations that are taking place. We just put an article up on thedumbnews.com, had a chance to give you about 1,200 words to talk about 1980, Ronald Reagan. And what he did was nominated a federal judge, last name of Garza, and would be the first Latin American. Nobody cared about that crap back then, except not hiring and promoting Latin Americans or African Americans or pretty much anyone else, because coming out of the 70s, it was still contentious and there was a lot of racial division in our country. And we hadn't gotten to the woke culture and DEI that equity is all important and we have to go ahead and hire people based on the color of their skin or where they put their penis. But Garza was a very qualified judge, and the Democrats torpedoed him. You also saw this in 91 with Clarence Thomas, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, to be exact, where Joe Biden and team also, which they torpedoed Garza, they torpedoed Clarence Thomas too, where the famous Anita Hill drama came and the pubic hair and the coke and what they called, Clarence Thomas said, was a high-tech digital lynching. This went on for 4 decades. Democrats, up until 2012, had done this with multiple SecDefs, had done this with cabinet, White House chief of staff, cabinet posts throughout the intelligence community, where they would just absolutely destroy a candidate that they did not feel was a part of the uniparty or the state of Washington, D.C. Bork is also a fantastic example. Was that 2007? 11? No, 97? Oh, shit. I just wrote the article. You think I would know. But this is also the nickname and the moniker of being borked. And that is, Evelyn, 100% correct. Bork was also a very prominent circuit court judge. And we saw the same thing with Amy Coney Barrett and Justice Kavanaugh, Gorsuch. I mean, this is just what they did was just a benefit that the Republicans finally said in 2015 to be exact, right before Donald Trump came in. And with their Supreme Court pick, Republicans finally said enough's enough. Now, they did challenge Ruth Bader Ginsburg quite a bit and Sotomayor, but not to the extent the way the Democrats did. They challenged their stances on the constitutionality of their decisions and got pretty brutal. But this was because Republicans were sick and tired of every nominee getting some sort of either hazing ritual or the mud was slung at rapid proportions and ultimately just marred the process. The borking continued. And even if you look at Alito, they were that way with Justice Alito too. So this has been going on for 45 years. There's nothing new to this. So when we see this with Pete Hegseth and Pam Bondi and RFK, you know, the Democrats are up there. Oh, he's unqualified. He's a racist. He's a Nazi. He's got white Christian nationalist tattoos. Let me guess. He's xenophobic too. Is he homophobic? I can't wait for the homophobic stuff where he stood on a table with a bunch of military guys and saying YMCA. Give me a break. it's so obvious. And nobody believes it anymore. This election demonstrated that the American public, both right and left, are just sick and tired of the politicking. And I think if Trump does the same when he gets in, he's going to face the whirlwind in 2026, or excuse me, 2028. And whoever the Republican nominee, and I don't think it's going to be J.D. Vance, but if it is, I think it'll be Young. There's going to be a payback from the American people if we are not careful and we do the same things that Democrats did. Bobby Richardson, thank you for the donation, $51.99, getting us started off right. We appreciate you. If we take a look at when Republicans finally said, okay, you know what, we're gonna retaliate here, it really was with Garland. And Garland, as we have found out, has been a political shill for the left. And Republicans weren't going to have anything to do with it. Mitch McConnell, the outing of Paul Ryan and Trey Gowdy and Michelle Bachmann and the more of the Tea Party, not the one with Ron Paul, but the one that was purchased by the Koch brothers, and really was this neocon reach the Bushes style party that hated Trump. We're never going to allow Garland to come in, knowing how much of a lefty he truly was. And Republicans sat on the nomination until Donald Trump got into office, which was fantastic. When we look at this is when Mitch McConnell said, and bear with me, I'm making my point here, is that we're going to go nuclear. If you make this choice, you're going to reap the whirlwind. And we certainly did with Kavanaugh, with Coney Barrett, and all of the confirmation picks in 2016, 2020, obviously was a lull because Republicans were out of the White House. But back now at 2024, 25, we are seeing every one of these nominees getting the old Cole treatment and the Spanish Inquisition from a party which has no rhyme or reason or any moral high ground to be preaching to anyone, especially Pete Hegseth and RFK and Pam Bondi. None of these people deserve this ire from the Democrats, but because they have supported Trump, they're going to. This whole process has become just a giant shit show. And the reason why it's become a shit show is because for a long period of time, predominantly 2016 till about 2023, the National Enquirer of our government became the norm. It wasn't about policy. It wasn't about legislation. It wasn't about qualifications. It became who had the best 30-second soundbite on CNN or Fox News. And the ambulance chaser decade was created, is what I like to call it, where everyone was all about destroying each other. There was no unification. There was no party working together. It was all just, let's destroy the other side. I don't care who it is, whether it's a Republican or Democrat, anyone who disagrees with us, and let's get it up there and let's own the libs or let's own the right. This is now continuing, and Democrats have not learned this lesson. You think they would have learned after the election results of putting Donald Trump. I mean, if you looked at the odds in 2021, what the odds of Donald Trump, once they started the lawfare and started throwing all the charges against him, what were the odds of Trump actually getting into the White House again? I think people would probably say 1,000,000 to 1. In fact, I would have loved to have seen the betting odds. And I'll tell you, I was challenged to find a way that Donald Trump would find the Electoral College path up till about 2023. And I started to see a path emerge in January, February of 2024, where I felt very confident that Donald Trump had a way to win. And I started seeing some polling in Virginia that was giving me some hope. And we started seeing some New Hampshire polling. And then we saw the primary go the way I thought it would be, which was Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis being the last two standing. And it made sense for Trump to give them, one of them, the vice presidency. However, one thing absolutely changed is Donald Trump wound up taking and repositioning his belief on the abortion issue. and took Nikki Haley's platform. This essentially made her obsolete. And although I agree with you, a neoconservative and part of the old party, it was very necessary for her, if Donald Trump was going to win, to possibly be on the ticket. And this is why he waited so long to finally say she's not coming aboard, because he saw the same polling that I did. And his team saw that Nikki Haley, although had a very strong attachment to the conservative party, all Trump had to do was move to the center and he would garner those votes. Amy Bordeaux, thank you so much for your donation. So now that I've given you the recap, let's listen to some of the questioning. And I showed you some last night, but this lady just continues to amaze me. Mazi Hirano, who is from Hawaii and is just an absolute, just a human thumb with no brain. This is how she started off with Doug Burgum, probably one of the cleanest governors who has very little opportunity to mudsling against him. I guess the only thing you can say is he's a little Magoo. Decides to lead him off with the same damn questioning
as part of my
about sexual assault and has he ever violated anybody. And if I'm Doug Burgum, I'm just sitting here and saying, you know what? At some point, I've watched yesterday. I watched you with Pete Hegseth. I watched you with Pam Bondi. I watched you with Marco Rubio. I watched you with Ratcliffe. And you've asked the same question of everybody. I now have to ask you, have you touched anybody inappropriately or made any sexual advancements to people and not told us? Because, lady, this is all you freaking talk about. You've got some, proverbial hard-on about sexual misconduct. And instead of asking me, why don't you start asking the people up in the dais with you? Instead of asking Pete Hegseth about his drinking, why don't you ask about the people who are sitting next to you? Have you ever seen any of them drunk at legislative meetings, during a vote, outside on Capitol Hill when they have to be back in session in a few hours? Have they ever had a few toddies or martinis at lunch? Have you ever seen any drugs? Has anyone smelled of marijuana, especially on those hippie liberal side? Anybody beat their wife? Anybody's wife comes to a Christmas party with a black eye? How about you stop asking us and maligning us with these horrendous thoughts that you have and start holding yourselves accountable? Because I'm not the one with a $126 million slush fund for civil cases against state legislatures and senators. But that's what they have. They have a get-out-of-jail-free card where they can bribe, pay off class action or class lawsuits, civil lawsuits, that they can go ahead and use money to go ahead and create NDAs and hire lawyers to pay hush money out to people. This is an open slush fund that all of them have to declare on their FEC filings. So how come they get that and you give me these type of questions? How about this? You work for me, lady. I don't work for you, and I never will work for you. I work at the pleasure of the President of the United States if I get this job. Otherwise, I'm a citizen, which means you fucking work for me. Why are you asking me these questions? Now, would you like to ask me about what my job is going to be? Would you like to do an interview, or do you want to continue to play grab ass all night? Here it is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome. As part of my responsibilities to ensure the fitness of nominees before any of the committees on which I asked the following two initial questions. First is, since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator, I have not.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
I have not.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome. As part of my responsibilities to ensure the fitness of...
So, that's not your job. You know how I would answer that? Do you have an allegation that you would like to make? Do you have formal charges that you would like to announce? Is there some sort of indictment that I'm not aware of? Well, then I'm not answering that question, because you just randomly walk up people and say, hey, have you ever been anally violated by a rhinoceros? When your herpes flares up, are they blue and red, different colored dots, or do they have more of a yellow or an orange look to them? Oh, I don't have herpes. Just answer the question, please. Fuck. How many Klan burnings have you been to? None? Where's the line of questioning come from? And what qualifications for the Secretary of the Interior public lists mean that I'm going to go and sexually molest a tree or possibly a small brown bear with Velcro gloves so it can't run away? Is that what you're asking me? What ethics violations I don't even have the job yet. So the way this works is that they go ahead and ask these questions. So just in case there's any impropriety, they can go ahead and run impeachment proceedings. But they also do it to make innuendo, subtle accusations with no evidence. So the American public does 2 + 2 and come up with 4. And it's called leading the question, leading the witness. These questions don't have any merit. The chances of any of these things coming to fruition are very few and far between. Because most of the people who get nominated for these cabinet positions usually have some sort of other job, whether it be a CEO or government service or hold a security clearance or whatever they may do in the private sector or for the government, federal government. Thank you so much, Patricia. Patricia, that's good. Sorry. Unless it's goody, which it's not, because the E is silent, I believe. Old English. Welsh, I believe. Is that correct? Welsh? Don't make me look up the etymology of your name. Let me know. Is it Welsh? I think it is. Okay, so my point is these people have been properly vetted. And if they've been properly vetted, then the chances of finding some sort of impropriety that hasn't been disclosed usually will be fictitious. And I will say it with a straight face. And Blasey Ford, you can suck Duck Egg Blue, and E. Jean Carroll, you can too. I trust E. Jean Carroll and Blasey Ford as much as I trust gas station sushi. I don't believe either of them. Oh, I believe that E. Jean Carroll had some sort of, fling with Donald Trump, and maybe he got handy with her in a dressing room. Hell, we've all been young before, but I don't think it was rape. And neither does she, and neither did the judge. In fact, he wasn't accused of rape in a criminal court. And any type of charges that could have stemmed for this were completely thrown out. And New York it doesn't have a statute of limitations on rape that would have been exceeded. They could have brought charges, but there wasn't any evidence. So to sit here and say that these things pop up as a gotcha, they do in presidential elections because that's what happens. But most of these are, I have a sudden clear conscience that I need to explain after 52 years that Ronald Ursop touched me in inappropriate ways. Where did this happen? I don't remember. What time of day? I don't know. What year? Year? It was the year of our Lord. Which one? I don't know. Maybe monkey or dragon or the year of the rat. I don't know. Who was with you? Nobody. Did you get a rape kit? No. Did you report this to police? No. Did you ever tell a living soul? No. All right, well, here's $96 million. So for them to ask these questions, it's completely obnoxious. And what's great is that we now have 45 years of this, and the people who are going to be in the cabinet, most assuredly, they know how to play this game. It's not that Trump nominated people who were better than his previous cabinet. They are. But all of them went to the school of IDGAF. I don't give a. Did that come out okay? I don't give a. Did that work? I hope it worked. So they don't care. And they have no problem, like Pam Bondi, just throwing Schiff under the bus and running it over twice. I got to show you all those last night. It's fantastic. But this is what we're getting to. We're getting to a situation that we can't get these people during confirmation. We can't get these people, the Democrats are thinking, we can't get these people through the normal processes of vetting because the American public just doesn't believe it anymore. So now what we need to do is we need to stop them altogether by impeaching or censuring, doing things to that effect. Here is a perfect example of CIA director, hopefully, John Ratcliffe, who I believe...
Yes.
Thank you.
Also...
All right, I'll tell Connor I'll be there in just a minute. So John Ratcliffe, director of CIA, who I think is going to be a great choice, was in Trump's cabinet in 2020, did a wonderful job. So here is a perfect example of these people who are politicians who've been to Washington. It's not their first rodeo. And they all went to the school of I don't give a. And this school is prestigious. And they all got their masters in I don't give a. And here is Ratcliffe doing it. Thank you so much, Christine Clark.
In 2020, when a chairman of an intelligence committee misrepresented that a laptop owned by then candidate Biden's son was somehow a Russian intelligence operation, and 51 former intelligence officials used the imprimatur of IC authority to go along with that.
Primer, kind of like a crib key, but a primatur, a primer. I love people with a vernacular. Like when Damani Felder comes on, it's like, I love it because I'm like, oh, I haven't heard that one in like 50 years. Look at that. It's a 10-cent word.
I stood in the breach. I stood alone and told the American people the truth about that. So I think my record in terms of speaking truth to power and defending the intelligence community and its good work is very clear. And what I can assure you is those types of instances, if I'm in that position as CIA director and have to do that again, as uncomfortable as that can be, to be accused, the truth will ultimately defend itself. And I think that that intelligence will as well.
I'll tell you what, it's not hard that when you go ahead and stand up for things that are right, it makes it awful easy to circle back and flash that CV, that resume, and say, well, hold on now. Here is what I did, and here's what you failed to do in my previous role, and put it back on them. See, this is why I would not last, because I would not make this about me. I would say, I have a question for all of you. First thing I would do is I would make myself absolutely available to every senator on the oversight committee, to anybody that was going to handle my confirmation. And I would give them a choice of 3 different time slots over 3 different days, over 3 different months that they could go ahead and book for me to spend the day with them. And the first thing that I would do is, instead of going to their office and instead of going to my office, we would go to lunch. And we would put ourselves in a position where we have to break bread. And it's a much different meeting when you can sit down and have lunch with somebody. You get to find out how they trust you, whether they order a drink or, if they order a salad or they order a steak or whatever. And you get to kind of see who they are. And I have done thousands of lunches with thousands of different people. working in the corporations that I've worked for. And I will tell you, lunch is a great way to uncover and start building a relationship. Then, the second meeting would never be at their home office. It would be in a neutral location, preferably maybe near the Washington Monument, maybe go out on a bench. If it's too cold, a local coffee shop, something like that. And I would make myself available to have a conversation that was a little bit more professional, but still in a relaxed environment. And then, once I have answered all of those questions, I would then say, now that we've covered this, now let's have a formal meeting where I get to ask you some questions and you get to ask me some questions, so you and I don't need to have an open door hearing. Here's why. An open hearing like this, this confirmation is a waste of time. The American people don't get to vote on this. You can call your senator and your congressman right now and everyone can scream to the rooftops that you want Pete Hegseth confirmed. They won't do it. Hi, Adeline. How are you? So there is no way that this should be an open confirmation. There's no benefit to it. It's just political theater. And it's not for them. It's for you. And it's for those shill politicians to show you that they're standing up to Donald Trump. So when you reelect somebody, you don't think about your pocketbook, or you don't think about the pieces of legislation that never went through, or you don't think about how your taxes are higher, or you don't think about how your third cousin's sister's roommate died of fentanyl poisoning, or some illegal rapes somebody you know and kills them. So you don't think about how eggs are fucking $12.49 for a dozen right now. Now, you don't think of anything other than, well, he stood up for Donald Trump in his nomination one time. Yay. Yeah, Pavlov's dog. Push the pedal. Ding, 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 dinner bell. That's what they want. They don't. This isn't for you. This certainly isn't for them. They want you to see it. But there's no benefit, so why do it in public? That's what I would tell them. Unless I refuse to answer your questions in those 3 meetings, or else you want to ensure that other people get to hear this so they may ask questions, that's fine. But I'm not going to do a formal hearing. And this is your opportunity to ask the questions you want. And if you choose not to book them, I don't care, but I'm not showing up for a confirmation hearing. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that that's a qualification. You have the right for oversight. But you don't get to decide what happens in the executive branch. The president deserves and needs a cabinet. And your job is to ensure that nothing disqualifies me from the job. That is not a conversation we need to have on the national stage. This is why I would never succeed there. Because like Pete Hegseth, I do the same thing to the point that he did with the Republicans and worked with them, but he didn't talk to any of the Democrats. And that's a mistake, because then it gives them an excuse to have this confirmation. And what I would do is my opening statement, I would stand up and say, ladies and gentlemen, I have spoken to all of you 3 times. I have answered all of your questions. This is not an electable position. This is a position that reports directly to the president, and I serve at his pleasure. I thank you for our lunches. I thank you for our casual meetings that we had. And I thank you for our formal meeting where I answered all of your questions and you answered mine in writing and verbally. And I wanted to say thank you formally, and I'm going to be taking my leave. I'm going to be taking my leave. And I'd get up and walk out. Because this whole thing is a sham. Bobby says, I might be stupid, but why would a nominee meet with a committee in private before being berated in public? Well, that's my point. That's where I agree with Pete Hegseth, because they didn't want to meet with some of them. They had no desire, because they knew what was going to happen. Pete Hegseth goes in, it gives them ammunition for them to say, well, in our private meeting, you said this. I get why Pete Hegseth did it. My point is that there's multiple ways to do this. Pam Bondi asked to meet with everybody. You know what the Democrats did? Nope. So if Pete Hegseth would have volunteered and said, sure, I'll meet with you, you know what they would have said? No. They are a bunch of petulant little children. Just children. So now what are they going to do? Well, they're going to go ahead and arrest you, I guess. Here's a couple things. This gentleman was in the U.S. State Department. He's a journalist. He's Iranian. And I am not a fan. Never have been. I don't like him. I think that they are all closet Hamas supporters. And like all Muslims, if they don't have Jews to blame, they'll start killing each other. That's what Arabs do. But I don't think this is right. If somebody wants to have a State Department conversation and they are a reporter and they want to ask a question about why Amnesty International, the UN, and other bodies say that Israel is conducting and prosecuting genocide in Gaza, I would expect that the State Department would answer these questions, no matter how uncomfortable. Because I don't believe that. If you didn't want what Israel is doing, then you shouldn't have attacked Israel. It's a sovereign nation. You have attacked them since 1978. 91% of your adult males believe that Israel should be eradicated from the earth at Gaza. 66% of the children that you are raising over the age of 2 already have an insatiable hatred for Jews. They allowed 77,000 of you to come into Jerusalem and work side by side with Greek Orthodox, Christians, Muslims, homosexuals, lesbians. Israel is one of the most accepting countries in the Middle East, let alone the world. Oh, well, there's some Hasidic Jews that don't like Christians. Yeah, and I know assholes all over the United States too, but that doesn't mean that's the norm. It is one of the most eclectic group of people and different religions and sexuality and creed out of any other country. And unless you've been there, which you haven't, shut up. Matt, are you a Zionist? Yep. Yeah, I am. But it's not just about Zionism. I believe every sovereign country has the right to survive. Do I believe Hamas has a right to survive? No. I don't believe terrorists. They're not a sovereign country. Gaza elected a terrorist regime. I don't recognize them as a sovereign country. Because sovereignty is not just recognizing your own borders, it's recognizing the borders of people who are in your territory and region. And Hamas, as they do not accept Israel, and they do not accept the Jews, they also don't accept half of the Arabs either. And whether it's the Shia or the Sunni, it doesn't matter. Muslim, all alike. If there weren't Jews to kill, they would kill each other. That's the way it works. But this is where Democrats are going. I'm going to show you a video of the new White House press secretary, and I think I'm going to love her. Trump is doing very well with his picks. There's a couple picks I don't like. I certainly don't like Mohammed Oz. But I do like most of his picks. But this shit, it needs to stop. And this guy reminds me of Mehdi Hassan. I don't like him either. But this isn't right. Listen.
3 people. 2 or 3 people. You pontificate about a free press. You pontificate about a free press. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. I am asking questions after being told by Matt Miller that he will not answer my questions until I'm asking questions. Wasn't the point of the May 31st statement to block the ICJ orders? You blocked the ICJ orders.
Please, sir, respect the process.
Oh, respect the process. Respect the process. Well, everybody from Amnesty International. From Amnesty International to the ICJ saying that Israel's doing genocide and extermination, and you're telling me to respect the process. Criminal, why aren't you in The Hague? Why aren't 2 or 3 people?
I don't have to agree with him. I don't have to like him. but I have to respect his right to say and ask those questions. Haven't we always said we just want the media to shut up and ask questions? We just want the media to stop the political grab ass and start holding these people accountable? Great. Let's start with Israel. Let's ask that question. Let's ask the question. Fine. You are claiming that Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel are prosecuting a genocidal extermination of Muslims, of Palestinians, of Gazans. Let's weigh if that's true or not. Let's talk about the facts. Let's talk about the broken peace agreements. Why did Hamas attack the Jews? Does anyone know? Does anyone care? Everyone goes, well, because they hate them. No, not particularly. They've hated them for forever, since 1948. They weren't too fond of them before the Romans came in and exiled the Jews from their land. And the Judeans go back 3,000 years. Goes back to the days of Mesopotamia. Goes back to the days that predate Palestine. And they're not the Philistines. The Philistines weren't even from this area. They think they were probably Greeks, or what we know now today as Eastern Europeans. They were vagabonds and gypsies. That's who the Palestinians are. Because the Philistines are not the Palestinians. And their claim to the land is unverifiably and quantifiably false. Jews never fully left Israel, including in the 1940s, when most of them mass immigrated into Germany in 1901, 1878, and all the way through, after the exile from the Roman emperor, who gave the name of Palestine, which is Palestinia, which is a Roman word. It's not even Arabic. You think that's funny? Ask me what the word Iran means in German. That's a whole other conversation. But that whole process lays claim to the Jews still being a part of that land and having a right. Now, did the Jews come back and take it? Most assuredly. And if any liberal sits there and tells you that if Native Americans would have somehow had enough weapons and didn't have the diseases that spread through from Europe into what is North America that decimated their ranks, where over 90% of them were dead before any gunshot was fired, nobody would say anything. They would say they didn't want to be conquered. They resisted the conquering, and we lost. Nobody would expect the English to come back over here and start killing Native Americans in 2025 and trying to take the land back. But unfortunately, whatever was left of the Palestinians and the Roman regime and those gypsies that call the land Palestine lost when the Jews came back. And they took the land back that was rightfully theirs. Now, it's not a bedtime story. You can check the history. You can read your own books, and you're going to find books contrary to that opinion. You say, oh, Matt, you've got to read this book. I have read that book. One of my best friends, who I adored and loved, was Palestinian. And when he found out that I had been overseas and been to Israel and worked with groups inside the IDF and Mossad, I made one comment about Jews, and I thought this guy was going to stab me in the face with a pencil. And we had a long argument as we were in training together at Ultimate Electronics. And he said, oh, the Jews are horrible people. They're evil. You've got to read these books. Okay, I'll read the books. And I read the books. And I will tell you one thing that rings true. Muslims hate Jews. And Jews hate terrorists. And that is just the way this works. They don't have any love lost for Muslims, but they don't go out and eradicate them unless you fuck with Israel. This guy has every right, Iranian or not, a pain in the ass or not, to ask if Israel is committing genocide. But then on the other hand, he should sit there and listen when we talk about how terrorists hide amongst the weak and prey upon the weak and usurp power and food and resources from the weak. That makes it impossible because terrorism is an ideology. It is not a state. It does not have a head of snake. Hence why we were in Afghanistan for 21 years, and it was a complete and utter waste of fucking time. And when you surround yourself with human shields and you go shields up, unfortunately, to protect your sovereignty and your country and your people, civilians will die. And if you believe that the United States and Iraq wasn't genocidal with the same narrative and the same filters, then you're not paying attention. Because our reasons for being over there were not for freedom and democracy. Does that make it right? Does that give Israel a blank check? No. But 9/11 wasn't perpetrated by Iraqis. In fact, it was more Sauds than anybody. And Bush made sure that we coddled their balls for a decade. So don't give me this shit. It was the best of times, worst of times shit. We need to ask questions. Is Netanyahu overreacting? A little bit. But you know what? After 40 years, I can't say I want to do the same thing. If every time my neighbor comes in here and lobs dog shit at me for 40 years and throws rocks and stones that hit my wife and hit my kid and breaks my 57 Chevy remodel that I'm doing, I think after 50 years, I'm probably going to go ahead and overreact. This is where the Jews are at. I warned everybody when this happened back in October. I told you this is where it was going. I said two things. You're going to find out who people really are, which you have, and the Jews are going to eradicate Gazans from the fucking face of the earth. If you like that, or you like the fact that I was right, thedumbshow.com/donate. Keep us going, keep us alive. We're halfway to our goal, a little bit shyer than that, but we're close enough. But not only is this happening with Iranian journalists who are activists, and his name is Sam Husseini, by the way. We're now doing this with our own politicians in Georgia. You may remember in Nashville, you remember the three? These are the people who were opposing the guns and the shootings. There was one white liberal congresswoman and two state legislatures that were black. Both of them were millennial. Both of them had marched with Antifa. And they came in with the bullhorns in Nashville and they were censured. One of them was removed from Congress, so no longer be able to join the floor or join a session. The other two were brought back in and assimilated back into the process after being suspended for a few days. And the left went crazy. Oh, God, how can you do that? How can you? This is democracy. They have a right. And then they came into the Nashville State Building, and there were hundreds of them, and they were threatening police and pushing police and screaming and yelling and interrupt sessions, but there was no insurrection there. I remember it too. Well, now we're in a situation where this stuff happens. Watch this. I'll tell you who this is. Actually, Donald Trump will tell you, because I got a video that Mr. Trump sent me. That's a lie. That's not true. But watch this.
You don't have to be in the way. You're breaking the law too.
You know, before we do that, we have to take care of something for a listener who's been really patient. Give me 15 seconds.
The Dumb Store is veteran-owned with a 5-star diamond rating for service and satisfaction. We offer quality products like coffee, shirts, hoodies, and hats, all made by veterans. Shop with confidence, backed by hundreds of 5-star reviews. Use code DUMB10 to save 10%. Visit thedumbshow.com today. Thank you for your support.
Olivia's coming on screen because we're going to go ahead and do that in just a second when it comes to, when when it comes to the video I was about to show you. But Olivia has an announcement to make. Olivia, do you have your mic, sweetie?
All right, I'm here.
All right.
I'm sorry I look like crap.
What do you mean?
I worked all day.
What do you mean you look like crap? You look good without makeup.
Thanks.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, we wanted to wish a very special person a very happy 12th birthday.
12? We have 12-year-olds that watch this show?
Yes, Mr. Connor Stillwell.
Oh,
we wished him a happy birthday
on the 11th,
last year.
Yeah, 11th birthday. Yes, I remember Connor. Outstanding.
Yes.
He's turning 12.
He's turning 12, which means our baby boy's turning 12 in 5 months.
He survived, huh? He saw 12. Good for him. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, he made it through 11.
Well, I'm sure JD/John is very, very happy and proud. I hope
JD, not John. What his name is.
I'm aware. And hopefully he sees 13. So what are we doing to recognize Connor?
We were going to sing him happy birthday.
What's this wee shit, white woman?
No, I'm not singing about myself. Hayden can come in and sing.
Let's get Hayden in here.
Okay.
I don't like to sing.
Hayden!
I'll sing. I like if you two sing, I'll sing. But me singing is not anything special.
You need to come sing happy birthday with me.
Yeah, get in here and help me sing happy birthday.
Just had milk.
So
Just get in here. This isn't for the Grammys. Just relax, Carrie Underwood, and start singing.
Just come here.
Act like a monkey and perform. Dance, monkey, dance.
You gotta get down here.
I can't. You okay? So I just had
Mom.
Gary. Now you want me to bend my diaphragm?
Just
were you in court?
take a knee.
There you go. Here, you sit.
My God.
That's the definition of bending your diaphragm. I'll stand. I have a loud voice.
Oh my God. Jeez, the child.
Are you ready, Axel?
Sure.
Are you going to get in the picture?
I'm.
All right, Hayden, lead us off. It's Connor.
Connor. He's
Connor.
12.
Okay.
You ready?
3, 2, 1.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Connor. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, that was horrible. We were so off.
I wasn't. I was balls
Happy
accurate.
birthday, Connor.
Happy birthday, Connor. I'm sorry I was the only one that could actually sing. Good night.
Bye.
Bye. See you guys. Thanks, Olivia. Thanks,
Bye.
Hayden. Don't duck, duck, goose me, young lady. I saw that band live.
You saw Guns N' Roses live? Lucky.
Twice. Once with Tesla and Def Leppard, and another time with Metallica. So, happy birthday, Connor. We appreciate it, buddy. Let's go back to the video after this.
The Dumb Store is veteran-owned with a 5-star diamond rating for service and satisfaction. We offer quality products like coffee, shirts, hoodies, and hats, all made by veterans. Shop with confidence, backed by hundreds of 5-star reviews. Use code DUMB10 to save 10%. Visit thedumbshow.com today. Thank you for your support.
Senator Colton Moore of Georgia. And he exposed and defeated the corrupt district attorney Fannie Willis last year. You may remember this story. Yeah, I sent a message out to his office and said, hey, I'm going to start doing it. I mean, Kat Kamek was supposed to come on in 2022, but I've talked to her office and she might be coming on next month. But I'll reach out to these guys and hopefully they come on because I would like for them to get their story out. And we see enough people that hopefully it should get them started. But Colton was arrested when he went after one of the rhinos and the Speaker of the House, who is an anti-Trumper, and he was removed and banned from the floor. And in doing so, tried to get into session today, and this is what happened. More about censoring reporters and trying to stifle the voices of the cabinet picks. Now we're actually taking elected representatives and we're arresting them? There's the video.
It has gone too far. I have an obligation to be in that room. I represent 200,000 people in Northwest Georgia who duly elected me to be here today. And you're hindering that. Unconstitutional.
Go ahead.
You have no respect for the Constitution.
I need you to step away.
Complete disrespect to the Constitution.
I need you to step away from this door now.
Okay.
I don't want to go down this road with you, but I need you to step over here. Yes, sir.
I have a constitutional
I
obligation.
understand what you're saying, sir. Okay. I understand what you're saying. This has gone too far, so we need to stop. Okay?
So you're preventing me from entering.
The doorkeeper said you are not allowed in, sir.
Sir, the doorkeeper has no authority.
Sir,
As a senator of a joint session, I have more authority than this doorkeeper of the House.
yes, sir. You're causing disturbance. You're going to
Sir, I have not caused a disturbance. I need to be let in.
You're not going in. You're free to stand out here and hang out. I'm not going to give you any issue if you try to twist from the truth. You're going to have an issue.
Gentlemen, I'm allowed in. Let me in.
We'll keep you out. You want to arrest, okay? Back up, please.
Sorry, the volume got better at the end.
Go ahead. We have a concern about that. Zone 2.
So this is what it's come to, huh? So now if you speak out, whether you agree with more or not, and if you want more on the show, no pun intended, call his office. I already called his office number. I'll give it to you. I called it earlier today. I have a lot of fans in Georgia because of Still Point. 404-656-0256. Mike, who's a host here, also from Georgia. Got a lot of fans from Georgia, show watchers. Call him. Tell him to come on the Don't Unfriend Me show. Let's find out what's going on. I'll make a stink. Hell, I'll donate to his campaign. But if somebody is saying something that you disagree with, thank you so much, JD. Appreciate you, Bubba. Thank you for the donation. If you have something to say and you disagree with a speaker, that's what this is for. That the whole point of legislators is to argue for your constituents. And if you present and represent 200,000 people and their overall bone of contention is the way things are being run, then you have an obligation not only to be there, but to express those things from your constituents. Otherwise, not only are you not going to get reelected, but you're breaking your oath to the Constitution of the United States to protect this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And just because it's not a standing army with a rifle doesn't mean they're not an enemy. And anyone who wants to shut down free speech and anyone who wants to censure people who have bones of contention from their constituents that need to be conveyed, they are most assuredly enemies of this wonderful country. He has every right to be there as a duly elected representative. And if the speaker wants to censure and remove him, then you better have justification to do so. Otherwise, you're an oligarch. You're a mob. You're a mafioso. And all you have to do is point your finger to destroy anyone who disagrees with you. And I don't give a shit if you're a Republican or a Democrat. These things are just so incredibly antithetical to who we are. And I didn't like it in Tennessee, but this guy didn't have a bullhorn. He wasn't leading protesters to take over chambers of Congress and state legislators. That's what they did in Tennessee. It's completely different. These people were Antifa, for God's sake. These people were not actively representing their constituents. They were representing their own self-interest and their own self-aggrandizement. This guy just doesn't like the speaker, and he doesn't like the way the GOP is being led, and he spoke out against it. That's his job. It's a quorum, for God's sakes. That's his responsibility. He gets the same 5 minutes or 7 minutes or 12 minutes or unlimited time that everyone else gets. And if he wants to call you a bloated fat fucko who doesn't deserve the gavel, then tough shit. Then do a better job. What happened right there was an overreach of justice, and it's using the Gestapo or the SS to arrest your political opposition, because that's what happened. That's assault. He got pushed, and that wasn't a little push. He was off balance, and the guy pushed him right in his center mass, and it knocked him on his ass. That's assault. And then they used the state police force to arrest him, a man who was not trespassing, a man who had every right to enter that quorum and represent his elected, his body in an elected representative manner, and they arrested him. His name is Colton Moore, Senator Colton Moore. And the Speaker of the Georgia House is the one who took him down. Here is another angle of the arrest, and then I'm going to show you President Trump's words. Donald Trump had something to say? Good. He should. Because enough of this shit. I'm sick of it.
Georgia State Senator Colton Moore deserves thanks and congratulations of everyone for having the courage and conviction to fight the radical left lunatics who are so badly hurting the great state of Georgia and, frankly, the USA itself.
Georgia who duly elected me to be here today. And you're hindering that. Unconstitutional. You have no respect for the Constitution.
Comes down to this. It's pretty simple. Donald Trump is the most powerful man in the world in 4 days. And I will tell you, it's time to not only take our country back, but it's time to play a little hardball. It's time to play hardball. And I don't care if John Burns thinks that disparaging Speaker Dave Ralston who is a late congressman, no longer living. Senator. I think Ralston was a senator. Doesn't matter. And somehow that's bad taste. I don't really care. I don't think anyone had a problem with people challenging Jimmy Carter's policies. I know many of these people probably spoke ill of John F. Kennedy or Ronald Reagan. Maybe Mitch McConnell. Maybe Joe Biden. Who cares? But the truth of the matter is that the constituents of his district need to petition the government for a quorum. And if he is not going to be be the representative of those people, then those people should show up. And 200,000 people should show up to the Capitol and demand a quorum and be heard, because they have that right. They have the absolute right. This is why J6 frustrated me so much, where they could have went to the Sergeant of Arms and demanded a quorum and taken 2 people from each state and got representation and made a grievance against their state that they did not have representation that was fulfilling their obligations. You're allowed to petition your government. There used to be a time where you could actually go into the White House, into the Oval Office once a year and present your case to the administration. Those times are done and will never come back. But when you start arresting people and leveraging the police force and the state police force, now there's a problem with that. Once again, I don't care what he said or didn't say. There is absolutely no reason. If you want to remove a legislator, there's a process. You vote on the process. Lee, thank you, buddy. And that's it. I'm looking at some of the comments made, and it doesn't matter what the comments are. It doesn't matter. He could have called him a pig-alien, rat-faced fucker. Sorry. And you can get him for decorum or some sort of ethics violation, but you have to unanimously, not unanimously, but you need to have a movement that gives you 2/3 majority to remove somebody from a session of Congress or ban them from legislative processes. Mike, just send the fucking link. You've already distracted enough with your paragraph and a half. I have to read that stuff. Just send the damn thing. Just send me the link, dude. Send it to me via text. Thanks. So let me go ahead and show this video because Mike really wants me to see it. And then we can go from there. I mean, this guy, I'm just letting you know, this guy delayed, missed cases. I mean, he was kind of a shitheel. Still waiting for that. There it is. Okay, let me take a look at this. Oh yeah, I remember this. I showed this on the show. I remember this. You guys probably remember this.
I recognize the senator from the 53rd.
Oh, the audio shit. Dude, do you not have external air conditioners in Georgia? What the shit?
Thank you, Mr. President. Heard a lot about courage and conviction from the previous speaker. Majority Leader referenced fierce independence. Well, I reckon the speaker and myself come from a similar bloodline.
Thanks for finding this, Mike, by the way. I was looking for it. I still don't care what he says. Like I said, he could say anything he wants, but unless there's actually a motion for dismissal, who fucking cares? I'm so sick of these panty wastes.
Because, Senators, I rise today in a steadfast opposition to Senate Resolution 687. My fellow senators, I think to bring a comparison to who this man was, we should first look at one of the greatest Georgians to ever live. A man who is globally recognized as a symbol of justice. Who am I talking about?
Nat Spear?
Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh.
A man, what did he say? He said an injustice anywhere was a threat to justice everywhere. Powerful words that we should think about as we vote for this resolution.
If you remember, Resolution 687 was the overall China's disposition towards Taiwan. We did this, I don't know, a couple years back. But this is the overall. I remember playing portions.
This body is about to perpetually memorialize, in my opinion, one of the most corrupt Georgia leaders we'll ever see in our lifetimes. I first remember learning about a girl named Haley when I served in the chamber across the way. Haley was brutally raped, sodomized in her living room by a man her family trusted. That man was Jason Brothers. And he hired Speaker David Ralston as his attorney. Not to defend him, but to protect him from justice. You see, for nearly a decade, this case rocked on, and Haley became terminally ill, never seeing justice. Her family...
So, Senate Resolution 687 was different. That was a federal resolution. That was an HR 687, which was China and Taiwan proposition. This was the naming of a building in Georgia after a former speaker, Ralston or some shit was his name. I can't remember his name. I'm trying to look it up right now. Yeah, David Ralston. He was the speaker in Georgia, I believe. Someone fact check me on that. And this building gets annualized almost and changes the name. I think it's been changed quite a few times. So it's an honorary type thing. And this was opposed by Moore. And this guy, he's deceased, so this kind of ruffled some people's feathers. And because they got their panties in a bunch that he didn't agree with doing this name and was opposed to 687, they essentially banned him from congressional sessions. So here's the whole thing. So sorry, I'm old. Deal with it.
Just walked in on her.
Why is Georgia worried about China and Taiwan? Knock it off. I'm doing the best I can.
In a bathtub with blood as she contemplated suicide. And you probably say, Senator, well, that's just one case. Where can you go with that? But no, there were several more. There was a case of a lady who lost her daughter and her arms as she bled out because a man was driving drunk. Destroyed the woman's family. But she wasn't able to get justice because the man charged with the DUI hired Speaker David Ralston as his attorney. You see, there was a man named Derek Key.
See, they're all starting to get... They're starting to get uncomfortable. They're like, why do you stop saying all this stuff? Stop making sense. Stop calling out politicians who live a life full of evil and without scruples. Yeah. Don't do that. Stand shoulder to shoulder with your Republican brothers. See, this is why this show, I told you, it might bother you. But you're like, well, he shouldn't be able to call out Republicans. Why not? Republicans aren't white as the driven snow. They're not virtuous. Excuse me, it wasn't just liberals that put us $34 trillion in debt. Thank you very much. It was also Republicans. Give me a break.
10 years delayed cases after molesting a 14-year-old child being protected by David Ralston. Now, how did David Ralston do this? We heard about him being chairman.
Jody, what's your question, hon? I don't know. What? Somebody tell me what the question is.
Chairman of Judiciary Non-Civil. Well, back in 2006, there was a bill called Senate Bill 503. The man created the legislative leave and then profited off of it, making hundreds of thousands of dollars protecting people from justice. You see, the truth is hard to hear.
Senator, Mr. President, we got decorum, rules here in this chamber. I think you made your...
What decorum rules? Listen, if this guy's a defense attorney or a prosecutor, that's like getting upset for Ray Lewis for playing defense in the Super Bowl and not getting frustrated that he murdered somebody allegedly. Oh, it's tough life. A defense attorney, their job is to represent their client. The prosecutor's job is to represent the state, and both do it and do whatever they can to win. Do I have a problem with that? Yeah, I've got a problem with it, because take a look at Kamala Harris, what she did as state prosecutor. Is it okay for her to charge people who she know had no reason to be charged, destroy their lives, make them go ahead and get a retainer for $20,000 for a lawyer, then drop the charges 2 weeks later, have them expunge their record that will take 6 months and spend $10,000? Yeah, that's fucked. Oh, she's just a prosecutor doing her job. No, she's using lawfare. And if this guy is a defense attorney and he knows that his defendants are guilty or they've done something that's wrong, and he continues to defend, then he is a man without honor and a man without integrity, because the presumption of innocence is no longer a presumption if you know that he's not innocent. That's my problem. And that is why I never became a lawyer, because I could not rest at night knowing that I know that my client is guilty and go up there and pretend to defend them as if they're innocent, because I swore an oath. And that takes the complete misnomer and notion that justice is blind, because it means justice is ignorant and justice chooses something other than what's right and wrong. They choose the almighty dollar, or continuing to make another BMW payment, or going ahead and, having another check to pay for my freaking guma in an upstate Atlanta hotel room or townhome so I can continue extramarital affairs in comfort. Sitting behind the guise that I'm a state prosecutor or I'm a defense attorney, therefore, there's not a code of conduct that I have to live by. There's not a credo. That's ridiculous. So if he did these things and he's not slandering the man and he made these choices that sound to me like this guy was pretty fucking dirty, good for him.
Point, sir. So if you could just go ahead and wrap up, we'd be appreciative.
Mr. President, I know it's hard to hear, but there were thousands of case delays. And make no mistake, these egregious examples I've given is no semblance of morality. You see, we as lawmakers are supposed to protect the vulnerable, Mr. President. We're supposed to protect children. We're supposed to protect law enforcement officers. Think about the law enforcement officers who were assaulted and weren't able to get to justice because of this man. You see, the Speaker turned a blind eye to what we as legislators know to be truth. And records show that after he was Speaker, he did not attend another court case. You see, he had more than 164 clients, because if you're not trying those clients, you just pick up more and more of them. No court, less work. He had an operation. He was running an industry, Mr. President, and all he was using was a simple form letter, sending it to the court, referencing the code section that the man created in 2006.
Senator, not the time or the place. Not
Why?
the time or the place.
Mr.
Go ahead
President.
and yield the well, Senator.
Why is it not the time and place? Isn't this okay? So if you can advocate for him to be named, why can't people propose opposition? Isn't that what this is for? Isn't this what baking the cake looks like? If not now, when? To quote the great Travis Manion Foundation. If not you, then who? So this guy has the brass balls to stand up there and go against other Republicans and say, wait a second, this guy was a pig. This guy was dirty. This guy is not indicative or worthy of a name. You don't have to like it, but you don't ban him from the floor. Man, I want this guy on my show so fucking bad.
At your request.
Thank you, Senator.
Give me a break.
Thank you very much.
If you guys haven't seen this one, it's from a Navy SEAL officer about why you should make your bed every morning. You should watch it. Probably one of the first ones that I ever saw on YouTube. I'll be right back.
Join WimKen.com, the social media platform built for free speech and true connection. No censorship, no algorithms controlling your feed, just genuine conversations and a commitment to protecting your rights. Sign up today at WimKen.com and take back your voice. Tell them Matt and the Dumb Show sent you.
Rocky, a U.S. Marshal, K-9. This to be a German Shepherd, was shot after he sniffed a suspect in a dumpster. He is expected to survive. Sorry that this is in mono. I hate that because my headset likes stereo, and I know if you're listening to it on a headset. But this heroic pup, who service dogs are amazing. Amazing. They're incredible. And I have met some amazing team dogs. Olivia and I want to get a dog, and we are really thinking about going getting a retired service dog. Yeah, but watch this. As Houston, I actually know somebody who works with the U.S. Marshals. A couple people work at U.S. Marshals in Houston, and know a couple K-9 trainers in Houston. And I will tell you, they're a part of the team. That's it. And it is an extremely emotional thing to see one of your team members go down. And just because it's a K-9, man, they take a risk. They put themselves in front of danger. They know what they're going. They know. If you believe a dog doesn't know, have it see a grizzly. It understands survival. It understands putting its life on the line. They're not stupid creatures. And it takes a high level of courage, no matter whether you're a dog or a human being, to do that job. It's incredible. Sounds like the dog's going to make a full recovery. That's good. As far as his partner or deputy, I don't know what happened. I'm hoping. I know he killed a BCSO deputy. I just don't know if it was at the same time. I don't think it was. I think he killed the BCSO deputy, and then the manhunt was ensued, but I'm not sure. What I do know is the dog is going to survive, and I feel horrible for the family, of course. When anybody from the Thin Blue Line goes down, that sucks. National Guard has arrived, Washington, D.C. for the inauguration, folks. Amy and I told you they were coming. Here it is. Dude, that was the worst turn I've ever seen. Dude, seriously. National Guard, come on. Come on, boys. I know you can do better. It's a woman, that's why. Dude, what the fuck was that? Starboard leader, what are you doing? Oh, God, what a pivot. It's like a 30-degree turn. What the hell? Oh. I don't care if it's National Guard. A Naval Reserve can march better than that. Give me a break. Seriously? That is unsat shit, mate. That is warmed up dog shit. That is warmed up dog shit. I'm just letting you know. Don't get mad at me for the truth.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts? You are pukes. You are the lowest form of life on Earth. You are not even human fucking beings. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit.
Yeah. Pretty bad. Now I want to go down there. Could you have shaved with something other than a brick, guys? I mean, seriously. It looks like you guys just got done with a 6-month deployment to Bali. Marine Corps is dialed in. Dude, look at the Navy, dude, representing. Look at that. Fucking Navy's tight. Look at those. Look at those dress uniforms. Ooh. Watch the Marine Corps. Army. Army. United States Marine Corps. Ooh. Look at that. Look at that shift. Look at that shift. It's like Lord of the Dance. Fucking gyrenes. Look at these guys. Yeah, look at him slide. Oh, look at the Navy, dude, showing up. Marines are so good at what they do. Marines are perfect. Look at their fists are perfect. This guy's got one down digit. What are you doing, dude? Everyone else, lockstep. But the Navy, look at that. Navy's looking sharp. Wearing the frickin' good humor Dixie cups and all. Carrying rifles, please. If that's a show of force, it's going to inspire people to riot. Except for the Marine Corps. Navy look good, though. Navy look good. Navy and Marine Corps look good. Department of Navy showed up. That's okay. Army, you guys lost the football game, too, so what do you expect? Notice how the Air Force wasn't there? They're playing golf. They don't have time for this shit. They don't have time for this. Dude, National Guard looked horrible. Army looked fine. Marine Corps looked good. Air Force, like I said, they flew over the event and like, what? It's okay. I love all of our brothers and sisters in arms. But Navy looks good. Navy wasn't taught by Marines. Give me a break. We run our own drill. Leave us alone. Yeah, color guard. They all look good. It's good. It's really a shame that we actually need it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Here is a crazy woman. Yeah, the National Guard's going to be in garage. The color guard are all there. They're Pentagon. Those color guard marching groups weren't brought in. Those are probably Pentagon. Those guys who work in the Pentagon. They have them there for ceremonial events and football games and funerals and shit like that. They just brought them in. But National Guard they were activated, 5,000 of them. And they're more than likely bivouacking in a garage. Janet Crenshaw, to help with a future pup adoption, donated. Janet, I thought you weren't going to donate anymore. I can't hear you. I am going to thank her. Janet Crenshaw, thank you. I'm not being a smartass. I feel horrible. I didn't sleep for 2 nights. Janet, we love you. Right? You should have answered me. I felt bad. I was like, God darn it, I missed it. I didn't mean to miss it. I'm so sorry I missed it. But thank you so much for your donation. Never want anyone to feel like we don't love them and appreciate them. That's why I was like, thank you. They all looked good. They look good. Janet, thank you. We'll put it to good use. You're the best. Folks, we're 93 cents short, so we're doing okay. We always like to overdrive. Crazy woman goes on a cray-cray word salad for like 3 minutes with Piers Morgan. I don't know why Piers keeps inviting 7 or 8 people on his panel. It really is distracting. Janet, that makes me feel good. I was really upset that I missed your donation. You can ask anybody. I felt horrible, so thank you for your donation. Really, seriously. All joking aside. Here's the video, Piers Morgan, where white lady hates being white. Here it is.
Little jibes you're doing. I am white. A slur you seem to think is somehow worth delivering in the middle of this.
The current deal that we have on the table is really not a ceasefire deal, unfortunately, because
Tammy said the books are sold. What books are sold? What? What books? The Constitution books? I don't understand. Amy, you can't just throw stuff out there like that without telling me what we're talking about. Help me understand what books. Thanks.
there are no guarantees that phase 2 and 3 of the deal will ever be brought about. And I think that's really where the focus of this conversation should be.
You can't answer my question about Hamas having power.
Why don't we talk about serious things, Piers?
Why don't you just answer my question? I would actually say whether Hamas has power after this is a pretty damn serious question.
I will.
Do you think they should?
I will get to that.
Do you think they should?
I will get to that.
Get to it now, because it's the question I've asked you.
I will get to it on my own time.
What's your answer?
My answer is, are you ready to hear it?
Answer it.
Little drum roll for you. Dum-dum-dum-dum. Is that we should be looking at a peace deal that achieves actual peace in the region.
Should Hamas have any power?
At the moment, the current phased proposal does not allow
one more
us to get
time
to that
before I
result.
leave you. Should Hamas have any power?
You're going to leave me? Oh, that would be sad. Let's actually talk about
I wouldn't worry about it because you'll never be back here again. But just for the purposes of the question,
Piers, you think
for the purposes of the question, we're not all 5-year-olds. Why don't you just try and be an adult? Try and be an adult in the room and answer a straight question.
How about you don't talk over me?
No, how about you answer my question or you shut up?
Oh, did
Which
you
one's it going to be?
just tell me to shut up on
Yes,
the show?
I did.
You
No, I gave you a choice. Answer the question or shut up. One of the two. Which one's it going to be?
You're not my dad, sweetheart.
Which one's it going to be?
You're not going to tell me what to do.
Okay.
And I'm going to
Ahmed,
tell
let me go to you because you seem
the real question
like somebody who won't be calling me sweetheart or dad. No, I'm done with you. I'm sorry. I'm done with you, Miriam. You're a complete. I do actually on my own show. I do on my show. You're a complete and utter half-wit.
Fuck. If I wanted to go back to my parents' house, that is not a trip that I want to make. What the hell is Piers Morgan doing? Why are you booking people like that? What benefit does anyone have listening to Jerry Springer, an unintelligible Jerry Springer show? It's our entertainment value has gone down so much. People have an attention span of a freaking goldfish. Piers Morgan can't debate himself out of a wet paper bag because Piers Morgan doesn't know where he stands. Piers Morgan changes his opinion constantly to appease whoever he's talking to. 1 minute, the Jews are justified in their conflict with Gazans and Palestinians, but predominantly Hamas in those regions. The next, Mehdi Hassan, he agrees with him that there's genocide. Sits there and says that guns need to stop. Thank you so much, Kev. Guns are necessary for military and for some law enforcement in England to keep the peace. Cappy says, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't what? Yeah, I know he books them because he wants controversy. My point is that he books people like Mehdi Hassan, who sits there and says there's genocide in Israel and doesn't stand up and argue against it. Thank you, JD. We appreciate it, that 92 cents. And doesn't argue against it and sits there and just constantly placates these people versus standing up and saying, when he's asked the question, hey, do you think that Hamas has a right to defend itself? And then he said, well, does Israel? That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, does Hamas have the right to defend itself? Does Israel? Answer the question. No, they don't. Thanks, Mark. They don't. Hamas doesn't have a right to defend itself. Just shut these people up. So you're telling me that Gazans should die because Hamas? No, that's what you said. What I said is Hamas does not have a right to defend itself because they have no rights. They are a lawless group of terrorists who their policy is completely ineffectual to any sovereign country in the world. They are antithetical to governance. They rule by fear. They're thugs. So no, they have no right to defend themselves. Does Gaza? Israel's not at war with Gaza. Israel is at war with Hamas. And if the Gazan people would simply rise up and the moment that this happened, start collecting Hamas with sticks, stones, and anything else they had and beat them to death and turn them over to Israel and say, we don't want to die. And we are repudiating Hamas and removing them from leadership and performing a de facto state, a coup de grace. And we are, thank you, Amy. Love you. And we are taking back our our country, our province, our territory, or annexation, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And here is this person wore green one time on St. Patrick's Day. We're going to give them to you as well because we don't know. And you guys can interrogate them. Give them back to me if you can. That's it. That's it. But Piers Morgan won't say that. Piers Morgan is like, thank you. Super chat. The real Bob. Appreciate you, Bob. You were here the other night. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Bob, appreciate super chats. I just wanted to let you know something. This isn't to knock. Every donation is amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. I always love you guys at the end of the night. Thank you so much. But Bob, YouTube takes like 60% of all super chats. So PayPal, Venmo, all good choices. If you don't have it, do super chats. That's fine. We're totally fine with it. I just wanted to give you an update. A lot of people don't do super chat through YouTube because YouTube, they just screw creators over. So I don't want to sound like I'm looking a gift horse in the mouth. I'm just looking out and telling you what they do. And anything is awesome, and we love you and appreciate you. I just know a lot of people who I tell that go, what? They do that? PayPal and Venmo take like 5% from me and you. So no, I don't care that Piers Morgan is going to bring on childish people, but where's the challenge? If I was going to, yes, every single cent is appreciated. I'm just telling you, YouTube are scum-sucking douchebags. That's all I'm telling you. Not anything else. When are we going to start? Like if I'm going to, okay, someone asked me, hey, Matt, would you ever want to debate, a content creator, a liberal content creator, like a Rachel Maddow, who's not a content creator, or Don Lemon, or Bill Maher, or Cenk Uyghur? Yeah. More than I would want to debate some Yahoo 17-year-old kid who's on TikTok. Give me the best. Give me Ben Shapiro. Give me Jordan Peterson. Because here's the thing, guys. Can you imagine somebody who would actually have a conversation with Jordan Peterson and not be contentious about everything he said and just say, I really don't have an opinion on that, but that's cool. I have questions because that's the way I am. I'm not going to sit there and argue with the guy. Yeah, Mallory, if someone gives me $100, YouTube takes $60. That's absolutely right. Facebook does the same thing. You can buy like 100 stars for $1, and if you give me that $1, I get like 30 cents. So that's why we did the dumbshow.com/donate. It's a lot easier. So thank you. Ashley, thank you. God bless you. Everybody, thank you so much for your donations. Just every time, it doesn't matter. I don't even need to ask. But I would want to go to Ben Shapiro and I'd say, and he'd be like, hey, let's have a conversation about Israel. And I'd say, no, because I'm on your side. Do I believe that everything that Israel does is star-spangled awesome? No. Do I think Israel is overreacting and they've executed their toll of payback? Yeah. They've dropped more bombs in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I think so. Yes, I think they have made a very clear point. Now they can allow this to stop and do small precision strikes on the remaining Hamas leadership. That doesn't literally bring down entire blocks. Yeah. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm going to go ahead and argue with Ben Shapiro about the state of Israel and why it's important in the Middle East. But could we have a conversation about it? Yeah. Could we disagree about some things? Sure. Because that's what this should be. I'm not going to sit up there and have a conversation with Piers Morgan and argue with him. If Piers Morgan is bringing me on for my personal opinion, I'm going to give it whether he likes it or not. But if he asks me a question, I'm going to answer because as a host, that's his job. And as a guest, that's what's expected of me. But if Piers Morgan comes on my show and I ask him a question, I expect him to answer it. And I would think that he probably would. But I always know that with him, he's always going to play both sides of the fence because he wants to be liked. And I don't give a shit about that. That's probably why he's a hell of a lot more popular than I am. Matt, are you going to the inauguration? Love to see you there. I will not. I wouldn't debate Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson and I think too much alike. I think like him. He's one of the people who I really respect a lot. Bill Maher and I would have a great conversation. I promise. Joe Rogan and I would have a good conversation because there's things I disagree with Joe. But that would be, I'm not in it for conflict. But if we have to get to a place of conflict, it'll be solved amicably. Even if you're an obnoxious douche, you guys have seen me on the show. We always end it right. Somebody comes on here and we disagree, we end it right. I'm not going to the inauguration. I can't protect my family in Washington, D.C. The one thing I know is there's two ways. There's one way in and one way out. Or 2 ways in and 2 way out to Washington, D.C. It is a absolute quagmire for a reason. And opposing armies, they wanted a limited access into Washington, D.C. once they built roadways and bridges. And it most assuredly is a very difficult area to get into and leave, especially when there's 500,000 people. So, here is something that you should also see. Carrie Underwood. Everyone's like, Carrie Underwood's going to play at Trump's inauguration. So? Evelyn says, is that a bag for ammo on the butt of that rifle behind you? It is a pouch that holds 2 magazines for the M1 standard magazines that fit on and inside there. So there's 20 rounds inside that belt pouch. And then I have a banana mag, which holds 30. And those are 30 caliber rounds on that little beauty. All original, 100% serialized, every single part. The housing, the sights, the barrel, the lower is all Springfield Armory, which is really rare to find. And that's Korean and Vietnam used. So to find it might be World War II used. Now Korea. No, it'd be World War II. It's all Springfield. Doesn't matter. It's all Springfield original parts. So yeah. Carrie Underwood. Thanks, Mallory. And you know what's funny is that we may agree and you just don't know it. Sometimes I don't articulate myself. I would love Bill Maher and I'd have a conversation because Bill Maher and I, he's a conservative. And socially, guys, I don't know whether you know this or not, socially, I'm liberal. And you know what? Most conservatives used to be. Socially, I pretty much, I think if you're not hurting anyone else, then what happens in your bedroom is your business. Do I believe in gay marriage? I don't believe in the institution of marriage through government anyway. It should be done through the churches. And the churches have a right to say that gay marriage is not acceptable to their religion. And that's it. Tough shit. But I believe that gay people should be able to love whoever the fuck they want, and we should recognize it from a tax purposes and a union purposes and a shared vestment, of course. And if people love each other and want to get married, so be it. They'll have their judgment day. It's not up to me. I don't care. It's not my business. Just leave it away from my kids. But socially, I'm pretty liberal. I don't believe in abortion in any way, shape, or form unless it follows the big 3. I don't think it should be used for contraception. Do I believe that transgender rights are human rights? Sure. Of course. Do I believe they should dress up and wear whatever they want? Just keep it away from my kids and keep it away from my family. And I don't want to have to celebrate you. I don't want to celebrate anybody. I don't want to celebrate Martin Luther King or Christopher Columbus. Don't tell me what to do. Fuck off. Leave me alone. I'll celebrate what I want to celebrate. You celebrate what you want to celebrate. And I shouldn't be chastised because I don't want to walk around with chaps and wear a rainbow flag with my dick hanging out. It's not my thing. It's maybe my thing in my bedroom, but that's none of your business either. Would love to have a conversation with Bill Maher. It is very cool looking. It was my father's. The only thing I took from my dad. You know, it's kind of funny you mentioned it. It's kind of funny you mentioned it. I was painting this office and doing Olivia's, painting the wall and stucco and, plaster and patching holes and trimming everything out. And I got my brush, and I always had to tape lines off. And I was going against the crown molding, and I'm like, screw this. Got the brush, wet the brush, dipped it, and man, I was just drawing straight lines along the molding, just going, just gliding. And I thought back to my dad, and it was like the happiest thought I've had about my dad in forever. And he showed me how to do that. So it was just a nice moment. Since he died, I really haven't thought about him. And I haven't really taken the time to dive into that. Now, a couple of the Colorado football games this year, I've said, like, oh, my dad would absolutely just go crazy at what the Buffs are doing this year. But that was it. But for the first time, I was like, yeah, that hit me. And I was like, it would be nice to say something to him, you know? So really the first time and it wasn't melancholy, sad, or, got all blue. I just was like, oh, my dad taught me a lot of things. And, I had people who were, give me an update, send me a picture. And I went like, how the hell did you get that done in a day? And because that was my dad's work ethic. You got the job done. You start a job, you finish it. Don't start something you're not going to finish. And what's funny is there were a couple times, like up above the blinds, there's this spot, a shelf that nobody sees. In fact, Yenny's hair was up there because she sheds and it gets kicked up into the air. And we haven't touched it in forever. And I went up there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got the vacuum and I cleaned it off. And I'm like, fuck this. I'm not going to paint it. And it brought me back. It brought me back to a time that, Steve Jobs was talking to his adopted parents. And they were painting the inside of a fence for a backyard. And they're doing this all day. And Steve's like, okay, we're all done. And he's like, no. Now we gotta go paint the other side. And Steve's like, what? It's 100 miles of open orange trees and farmland. No one's gonna see it. And he's like, we'll know. And that carried on with him through Apple. And when he created the first Mac and Apple computer, the Apple One, Steve Wozniak and them got an order for 130 motherboards to do this. And they were in self-contained casings. And Woz is putting in the RAM and trying to fit it on this board and putting it at an angle. One's here, one's this way. And it, it just looks like somebody just dropped some half-black Tic Tacs of RAM. RAM was much different back then. And it wasn't modular. You soldered it to the board. And Steve, opens up the first demo and he's like, or 20, there's 20 made so far. And he sees it and he's like, no, wait, what are you doing? You have to line up all the RAM sequentially. Same height, same on the vertical and horizontal axis. This looks like shit. And Woz is like, who gives a shit what it looks like? It's a closed system. Nobody's going to see it. They can't open it. And nobody's going to know, Steve. And we've already done 20 of these, and we're already behind schedule. And Steve's like, I'll know. You'll know. We'll know. We can't have it. And it was always the way he did things. And my father was the same way. And wasn't, don't start something you can't finish, but also do it with pride. So as I'm up there and I'm like, clean that thing off of dust. And I'm like, nobody's going to see this. I'm like, fuck, give me a brush. And I step up there once again, my back dying because I'm up and down and all around laying down and I'm doing things I shouldn't do because I shouldn't be pushing my surgery so bad, but I don't care. And I paint it and I take pride in it. And I'm like, this looks good. And I haven't painted anything since I took that time 5 years ago and started doing painting models and Warhammer and stuff. And I got really good. And it taught me how to paint a straight line with a brush. And it correlated to a larger scale. And it helped me realize that when you feel overburdened or feel like something is too big to handle or too big to manage, do the small to train yourself to do the large. And it was a good moment. Haven't thought about it since, but you brought it up, and that's my dad's M1. Yeah. It's the only thing I wanted from him. I wanted a painting from my mom and an M1 from my dad. It was one of the last things that I remembered when I got back from boot. Never shot a rifle with my father. I scored expert pistol, expert rifle in the Navy, and had never shot a rifle or a handgun in my life, but I trained myself on BB guns, and I would shoot 100 feet away and pop soda cans behind cardboard boxes over our pool. And just, and I got so good with that. It was this Daisy right here, this exact one. And that was small. And it taught me how to do something big. And I wound up being a hell of a sharpshooter, expert rifleman. And I've always been a good shot. And doing the small to help me do the big. There's Janet. I love Carrie. She's an all-American girl. Matt, have you read the story behind the M1 carbine? I certainly have. M1 carbine was designed to replace the 45 for officers. 45 caliber M1 A1. And the reason why is because they were losing so many first lieutenants and lieutenant JGs and whatever, second lieutenants, that the 1911 became extremely expensive to make, and supply became an issue. So they gave the M1 carbine and started handing those out in Vietnam because honestly, it's essentially all barrel. It is a modular piece. In fact, the entire frame of wood is one solid piece. And by taking off the front sleeve housing and moving it one single screw out, you can take the entire receiver and barrel out of the weapon and trigger guard and have a wooden modular piece. And they're extremely accurate. 30 caliber, and they are lethal. And I will take that over my AR-15. If I got to shoot 500 yards, I'm taking the AR. 350, I got to take the AR. Anything over that, I'm taking a 308. But 150 yards, I'll take that M1 all goddamn day. It is so light, and it is so lethal in the hands that can use it. But as far as the M1 carbine, there's several stories. There are several stories about the M1. Which one are you referring to? That was the one in Vietnam that I know very well. But I do know the M1 Garand, and I understand the effectiveness of the M1 Garand, probably one of the best rifles ever made. But the M1 carbine is one of the best carbines ever made. Yep, designed by a convicted felon. Yeah, it's one of my favorite weapons on the planet. I love it. Reading the rest of these. I'm sorry, JD, that you lost your dad. That sucks. My dad and I were estranged. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, my dad and I were estranged. We didn't have a very good relationship. Some of that's my fault. A lot of it's his. But the final decision was he wasn't there for my kids. And I was just like, no. You weren't there for me. You got to be there for them. And everyone's like, oh, well, you can't say that. You know, your dad was there for you. Look at you now. There's a lot. That's a lot of people who watch the show understand. I don't hold any grudges. Carrie Underwood is going to be singing at Trump's inauguration. People are going after her. 1.5 million people unfollowed her on Spotify. Who gives a shit? She's a multimillionaire. She doesn't care. That Monday Night Football contract took care of her. But why are people surprised? Remember when she did this? I don't think you guys do. This was a long time ago. This was back during Obamacare. Her and And what is his name? Brad Paisley did this song at the Country Music Awards. Watch this. Or the Grammys, or one of the two. This is hilarious.
Hey, do you have that Obamacare?
Obamacare? What's that? What's that?
Oh, it's great.
It's great?
It's great.
What is it?
I started signing up last Thursday, and I'm almost done. Let's go to the website and get you signed up.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. Let's see. This can't be too hard, right?
Why is it spinning?
Oh, it does that.
Okay. Why is it smoking?
I don't. Maybe we should restart it.
Obamacare by morning.
Why is this taking so long?
Why is this taking so long?
So long.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna wind up with hemorrhoids if I sit here till dawn. We'll have cataracts and dementia. Oh, this is getting on my last nerve. Obamacare by morning, over 6 people served.
Taylor Swift, so pissed. I don't know why people are shocked. She's always been...
I don't see any future.
Shut up. She's always been conservative-minded. She dates a hockey star, I thought. The guy from Nashville, maybe she changed to some football player. I don't care. I don't follow that crap. I'm sure Olivia is going to go ahead and tell me all about it. But she's always been a conservative girl. So now they're doing, oh, well, you know, I'm going to take my keys and slash his tires and destroy his four-wheel drive, whatever that song is. So she will write an insulting name and slash somebody's tires who cheats on her, but sing for a rapist. Okay, Donald Trump's not a rapist, you fucking morons. I'm so sick of these people. Can you just stop? It's like you're so offended by everything. Come on. It's not that bad. He's going to be president. It's 4 years. You can handle it. It's like waiting for the Winter Olympics. You're going to be fine. And honestly, just like last time, he's going to do great things for our country. I'm looking at a couple of orders. Hold on. Somebody sent me a message and said, hey, I ordered twice. I'm looking. Yeah, nobody's ordered anything. No, you haven't. Someone's trying to run a scam. Real quick, and then we're going to wrap it up. And we'll get out of your hair. Folks, slowest months of the year. If you can have a chance to donate, you like the show, you said, wow, it was awesome, do me a favor. Stop on by and go over to PayPal and see if you could donate. Doesn't matter what it is. The Constitution of the United States of America, folks. Holy crap, my graphics are just... I'm sorry. Fix this. That's what happens, impromptu graphics. Constitution of the United States. Listen here, dude. Come on. Seriously. Scotty, we've got a problem. Don't do it. Don't. There we go. Constitution of the United States of America, 144 pages. This is exclusive to the Don't Unfriend Me show. It hasn't been released yet by Arcadia Publishing. They will at some point. But we got the first batch of these. They are from the Library of Congress, the Smithsonian, and Arcadia Applewood Books. It is a Constitution of the United States of America, and it has a biography of all the signers, and it's got the Declaration of Independence, and it's got the amendments, all enclosed, 144 pages. This is a full-size book. This is not the Documents of Freedom, which are the small-size books, which we sell. We've sold like 300 of those damn things, and those are amazing. These, all wood made by our good friends over at PFC, Percival Flag Company, and you get all the books. They come with it. But this is a full-size book. It's 9 by 6, 144 pages. Leather, 100, not pleather, leather, leather bound, beautifully illustrated, and gorgeous. And it is available over at thedumbshow.com. Folks, sorry. They are extremely limited. We ordered, I think, 20, and I think they are half gone. So if you have not been over to thedumbshow.com, go pick yourself up one and make sure you get one. We'll be right back, and we'll wrap up the rest of the show.
Join WimKen.com, the social media platform built for free speech and true connection. No censorship, no algorithms controlling your feed, just genuine conversations and a commitment to protecting your rights. Sign up today at WimKen.com and take back your voice. Tell them Matt and the Dumb Show sent you.
Louisville Slugger to both headlights. Yeah. Dabbing on that $3 polo, but he don't know. And I slash and turn and drive and tires. Maybe he'll think the next time he cheats. Yeah, that song. It's a good song. I'm going to give you one last thing before we go.
In Gaza with Hamas in any kind.
Seriously, Piers Morgan, shut up. I am going to give you Trump's nominee, Caroline Leavitt, and I think I love her. She's not Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is 60 years old. Talk about Gilfy. Holy shnikers. Like, Olivia, I was drooling at the table. Olivia's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, the food's delicious. That's what it is. And Pam Bondi's on the screen. Smart, hot. But Caroline Leavitt, pretty sharp. I'm really excited to have a press secretary who isn't a complete dipshit. Here, we'll go out on this, and then I'll give you final thoughts.
Array. If you listen to their line of questioning.
Incoming White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. How you doing, Caroline?
Doing great, Jesse. In fact, we couldn't be better. We couldn't be more pleased with the way things have gone on Capitol Hill here in Washington, D.C. the last 2 days.
So the strategy seems to have been get all the Republican senators on board, have all these nominees be very well prepared, and just let it all play out. It seems to be going almost perfectly. Do you see any downside at all yet?
No, not yet. If we've learned anything in the past 48 hours, it's that the Democrats have not yet found a cure to Trump derangement syndrome, and their party is still in complete disarray. If you listen to their line of questioning, they are not interested in solutions to the problems that the American people are facing. They are not interested in the qualifications of these highly qualified nominees that President Trump has put before them. No, they're still asking about January 6th and the 2020 election results. And when they ask those questions, they're not even interested in the answer from these nominees. They just roll over them. Pete Hegseth knocked it out of the park yesterday. Pam Bondi, Senator Rubio, Ratcliffe, they were all fantastic today. And we expect that all of these nominees need to be swiftly confirmed. Senate Republicans are on board, and even some Democrats, too. I think you will see, Jesse, will come out of the woodwork and support these highly qualified and brilliant picks by President Trump.
Good. I hope so. I'd be a little shocked if a lot of Democrats did, but I expect some too. You know, you're right about Pam Bondi. I didn't hear anybody ask about drug trafficking, fentanyl trafficking. I didn't hear anybody ask about white-collar fraud, espionage. It was all about BS that they talk about on MSNBC.
It was about the weaponization of government, which is so ironic because it's the Democrats who have weaponized the government and weaponized the Department of Justice against President Trump over the past 4 years. Pam Bondi is brilliant. She's exceptionally qualified. She served as a prosecutor for the third largest state in this country her entire career. And that's why President Trump picked her to be his attorney general. And that's why she came out unscathed from that hearing today. We're very proud of her.
All right. Well, we have Tulsi, RFK Jr., so it could change. It could be a little more controversial, but we'll see how it shakes out maybe in the weeks ahead.
I've only got one thing to say to that. Good choice, Trumpy. Attaboy. President making great choices. Folks, thank you for all the donations tonight. It's been amazing. A couple of nights back. We are very excited for the future. We are right on the precipice of the inauguration. I have good news. Olivia will be here Ethan will be here as well. My son, he is just like he was with election night, going to want to watch the inauguration. I still have a very uneasy feeling. I don't feel great about it. I'm not going, not because I'm scared. I'm going because I know there's no way out of Washington if we need a bug. And if something happens, I have to protect my family. And I can't carry in D.C., and I won't go to a place that I can't carry with that many people. So I'm praying that they do it right. And yeah, that's it. Wanted to give you guys a quick update. You remember raising money for Inauguration Day for first responders. This is going in every single food box that is going to be given to Feeding the Heroes and Feeding the Police. And we were one of the sponsors for this. And you remember your donations. I always want to share things with you. Your meal today was generously donated by the community along with various business sponsors. It's been prepared with you in mind, and a small token of our appreciation for the tireless work you're doing on Inauguration Day. Quite a few different places all around. Percival Eats, I know it well. And Double Archery, Hogback Mountain Paintball, a few others. And the Don't Unfriend Me show, which is always exciting to see. Got our logo. That'll be put in every single box, and every single officer will see that. So we're excited for that. Folks, tomorrow we'll be on. It is, holy shit, it's Red Friday. So we will have myself, Mike, Olivia will be on. We can't wait to see you. Olivia will be here with bells on. And we're so very excited. For the people who are brand new, who watch the show, thank you for watching us. Everybody is important. It's good to see Janet back. I think she's always been watching, but nice to see her back. And thank you for donating. We love you. Appreciate all of you and everyone who takes care of the show and keeps us going. It means the world to me. We'll have a new show tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Can't wait to see you. This show will be on podcast tomorrow by 11 o'clock. And we repost the show so you can listen to it if you didn't get a chance to watch it. And you can listen to it on Spreaker, Spreaker.com. Go over to Wimkin, Wimkin.com. 9 million people. Roseanne Barr is releasing a song tomorrow with Tom McDonald. And as you know, she's a peer on Wimkin. And she'll be releasing it over there. So if you have not become a follower of Wimkin, it's really simple. Just go to Wimkin.com, put in your username, your password, your email, pick a profile picture. You got to do the whole thing. Because emails don't get sent out by Wimkin because Google and Comcast and all the email providers have shut them down because they would not release the January 6 names of all their 9 million followers to the J6 committee. And Jason said, no, I refuse. Get a warrant. We're not doing it. And they have blacklisted him, punished him for it. So go over to Wimkin.com, sign up, and you won't get an email. But 24 hours later, just remember your username and your password and go in there and just sign in like you normally would, like it was approved, and you will have a Wimkin account. Go follow us over there. We stream over there. We love the people over at Wimkin. They take care of us. Go get that. And then you can see Roseanne's new video with Tom McDonald, who did the rap album with Ben Shapiro, is doing a song with Roseanne. It's worth listening to. You're going to love it. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. God bless. Take care of each other. See ya then.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.